40 million tokens a month through Claude, $2,400. Most people assume a frontier model means better output. 80% of that bill buys nothing a free model would not. I ran the math on his stack earlier this year. He was paying roughly $2,400 a month for intelligence. A Gemma 4 model on an $80 rented GPU would have matched on 35 of his 40 daily task types. The other 5 were real, genuinely required frontier reasoning. He needed Claude for those. But he did not know that, so he paid frontier prices for everything. Free is good enough. For 80% of what you are building right now, your routing logic is not. And nobody is talking about the gap between those two facts. The market operates on a simple belief. Paid models are better, so you use paid models. Premium equals quality. That belief is 80% correct and 100% costly. Jan LeCun has been saying for 3 years that open source models would catch closed ones. Most people dismissed him as Meta's marketing voice. Here is the pricing gap in June 2026. GPT 5.5, $2.50 input, $15 output per million tokens. Llama 4 Scout hosted on a third-party provider, 15 cents input, 60 cents output, 16 times cheaper, and that is before you consider running it yourself. Self-hosted Llama 4 at scale drops below 10 cents per million tokens. The paid model is 150 times more expensive. One engineering team cut their API bill 73% with a routing layer. The reason that figure matters is not the percentage. In 2023, the distance between a capable open weights model and GPT-4 was 17.5 percentage points on GPQA Diamond, the hardest academic reasoning benchmark in circulation. Watch what happens over the next 30 months. By late 2025, Qwen 3.5, a model you can run for $1.25 per million tokens, scored 85.5% on GPQA Diamond. Claude Opus and GPT 5.5 are at 94%, 9 points. And on Swaybench, real software engineering tasks, Minimax M2.5, an open weights model, scored 80.2%. Claude Opus 4.6 scored 80.8%. 0.6%. That number matters. The reason that number matters is not what the benchmark is measuring. Human of all, the coding test most developers actually care about. Llama 4 Scout clears 88%. GPT 5.5 hits 93%. The 5-point gap disappears in standard coding workflows. The exceptions are real. I am not dismissing them. On Web Arena and OS World, agentic benchmarks measuring real-world task completion, frontier models still lead by a margin that matters. Claude 4.5 Sonnet on an agentic task, 70.6% success rate, 56 cents per task. GPT-5 Mini, 59.8% success, 4 cents per task. On that specific workload, the delta is worth buying. Marcus is a CTO in Austin. He made the call in Q1 2026. One API key, one model, one invoice. He told the team this directly. Nobody ran the math. All 3 pipelines run through the same frontier API. Every classification call, every ticket, every code review comment, their monthly bill, $18,000. Document classification does not need frontier intelligence. Neither does support ticket routing. Code review might. One of 3 pipelines is doing work the frontier model actually earns. Marcus saw the Q2 finance review in April, $14,000 a month, 2 quarters running. His competitors were buying the same intelligence at 12 cents on the dollar. He told me later, I had been paying for confidence, not capability. He had not asked the routing question, not once. Most teams have never asked which tasks in their pipeline need frontier intelligence. Until you ask it, You are paying a tax, not buying intelligence. The smarter engineering teams in 2026 are building one thing: agentic routing. The structure is simple. Run the cheap model first. Score the output. Escalate to the frontier model only when the cheap model fails or returns low confidence. Teams doing this are reporting 40 to 70% reductions in API spend without measurable quality drops on end-to-end pipelines. That number is large enough to make a CFO ask questions. 100 million tokens a month. All frontier. $150,000. Routed 80/20, 30,600 per month. 3 questions. Would a 5% quality drop be noticed? Is this a novel multi-step problem? Is an agent taking irreversible real-world actions? 3 yeses means free model. Pull your token logs from last month. Classify every job type. 1 question per job. If this output were 5% worse, would anyone notice? For most jobs, no. The routing logic is not complicated to build. What is complicated is admitting you have not built it yet. Model routing becomes infrastructure. You do not run analytics on your production database. You will not run document classification through your most expensive model. By 2027, routing by task tier is standard pipeline design. Same arc as database sharding. Afterthought in 2005. Table stakes 10 years later. The uncomfortable part. The companies building routing products include the same companies selling you frontier APIs. They know the routing argument is correct. They are capturing both ends of it. They know what the right architecture looks like before you do. That should tell you something about how urgent this question actually is. My verdict: not hedged. Free models are production ready for 80% of agentic workloads right now. Gemma 4, QN 3.5, Llama 4, not consolation prizes. You pay frontier when an agent takes irreversible real-world actions, or when a novel problem has no prior template in your stack. Everything else is negotiable. If you are running 50 million tokens a month through Frontier for summarization and ticket routing, that is not an intelligence purchase. That is a reflex with a line item. The vendors want you to default to Frontier. The math says do not. Which pipeline did you pull off Frontier first, and did the quality hold? Drop it in the comments. Next episode: why most routing attempts fail in the first week, and the one mistake Marcus made that you will too.